Okay. You should be able to. I'm gonna let
Okay.
this person in.
Okay,
Okay, we're all set.
okay.
Nope.
We'll
Is
pull him.
Paul coming or no?
He may miss it because it's a snow day. He's got the business
Okay.
snowing today. I'll call the meeting to order. Lisa?
As required by the Open Public Meetings Act in 1975, adequate notice, this meeting was provided on January 14th, 2021 by publication of notice in the express times and posting of said notice in municipal building on the same date. Mayor Barsney?
Here.
Mr. Baylor?
Here.
Mr. Beam is not on yet. Mr. Marqueta?
Here.
Ms. McDermott?
Here.
Mr. Lavery?
Here.
And Mr. Finelli?
Here.
Okay. Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting January 21st and the special budget meetings on January 30th and February 6th. Anybody want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Anybody have any questions, comments, corrections, deletions on it?
No.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Here, yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Beam? Oh, sorry, not here. Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
And Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
I'll make a motion. We accept the treasurer's report and the February bill list. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Any questions, comments? Anybody have any on that?
When I went in to pick up my packet, there were no folders for us to sign off of vouchers. Who do I ask about that?
Yeah, Susan should have left them. I noticed that as well, Lillian. I will send her an email and ask her to just make sure that she leaves those tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, I had previously asked that they be available, before the meeting. And I think typically, Paul is pretty diligent about stopping in, the afternoon of the meeting. So he would have been looking for them if it wasn't snowing.
Okay, roll call, Lisa.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion to accept the tax collector's tax and sewer report for January?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions, comments? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
And Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Looking for a motion to accept the consent agenda for the police department report, the DPW report, and the township clerk's report for January. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Anybody have any questions, comments, anything on those three reports?
No.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
And Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Committee reports. Anybody have anything from any of your committees? Frank, open space or anything, or Brian, rec?
I have a couple.
Okay.
For the rec department, they're in good shape. They just they have signups, I think, until second week of March for baseball, lacrosse, and softball. They're working really hard. They had a meeting on Tuesday, and it's coming along. Just hoping with COVID that they get their seasons in. And the other report I had was the school board had a meeting last night, and they are waiting for state aid numbers
Yeah.
to create their budget. And right now, hopefully they get some of that aid. They could be looking at a almost $600,000 shortage. So they're hoping that's not the case. So
I think
that
those
should be
numbers-
released by
Wait,
the
okay.
governor soon.
Did the numbers come out, I think, next week? Doesn't he do his budget address Tuesday, and then by Wednesday or Thursday, he should have those
Yeah.
numbers?
Yeah, so they're awaiting that.
Okay. Anything else?
I got open land use.
Okay.
As everybody knows, we're gonna be reviewing the master plan this year. they came out with a lengthy schedule for review, basically every meeting for a whole year. So I asked the planner to come to the next budget meeting to review a budget with us, because sounds to me like it's much larger of a budget than we were anticipating. So we're gonna have to make a determination of how much we want them to really go over the master plan, how much we can afford. Anyway, so they're gonna come to the next budget meeting and we could address it then. She's gonna prepare a budget.
Mhm.
So this isn't, do we talk about any other things other than our committees? I have a couple other things. Yeah,
Well, you want to bring?
Uh, yeah,
Well, you want to bring under new business, or is it new business or something, or you just?
new business is fine. I just want to make
Okay.
sure.
Anybody else have anything? Lily, do you have anything?
I have not gotten anything from Amanda for this month, no.
Okay. Okay, professionals report. Mike Finelli, you have anything?
Good evening, everyone. The only thing I have, Mayor, is the DOT grant for Rickline Hill Road Section 2. I know I reviewed it with everyone last month. You know, it's actually fairly close to what we anticipate the number and the cost to be. So doesn't appear to be much of a shortfall, which is great. And I just need your approval at some point to get the show on the road and get started. So
Okay, is that it?
that's it.
Okay. Sorry about your father too, Mike. It's first I really seen you. We're close, I've seen you, so, but.
Thank you, Bob. And thank you
Oh,
to the township for sending the flowers. That was very nice.
I'm sorry also, I
Thank-
didn't realize that. Sorry.
That's fine, Lily.
Really
Thank you.
lost,
And
Mike.
thank you all.
The mic, this is the first time I'm hearing or anything, so
Yeah.
I don't even know what happened, but
Well, I'll tell, next time we
Yeah.
talk, I can give you the lowdown. He'll go
I'm
down
sorry
as
for
as
whatever
a,
you're going through.
yeah,
Sad to hear
he'll
that.
go down as a COVID but it really wasn't COVID, but that's another story for another day.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks, Mike. man.
Okay.
Okay, old business. Do we have any updates on the lawn mowing? Probably not, because I'm sure Joe's not here and Paul's not here. I don't know. If
Let me
I don't
think
know if
about
there's
it.
really anything to discuss,
I think
was there?
that the only reason that I put that on the agenda as an update is because Mike had sent the letter per our last meeting, and that correspondence is in your packet. So not really anything if Joe doesn't have an update.
Okay. Okay, new
Yeah,
business.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, I just sent the
Okay.
letter to the contractor as the committee requested, Mayor, and just let him know that it wasn't anything to do with the service that he provided. It was just the township was decided to take it in-house, and that, you know, I mentioned that there were, I think the school, there was a couple smaller things that the town would be bidding out at some point in the future, so I haven't heard
Okay.
anything back.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Mike. Okay, looking for a motion to adopt resolution 2521. It's a tax lien redemption. Anybody will make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Nobody has any questions, comments, I'm sure. Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes,
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to open a public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 101/2021 regarding the acquisition of stormwater easement. That's for the affordable housing development.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. I mean, anybody want to second it?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Frank, you want to open it up, see if anybody has any comments on the ordinance?
okay. Let me ask everybody. I'll unmute. Okay, everybody's been asked to unmute. If anybody has a question, please state your name. Okay, seeing no questions.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We close public comment. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. I'll make a motion, we adopt ordinance 101, 2021. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Any questions, comments, discussion?
No.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes,
And Ms. McDermott?
Yes,
I'm looking for a motion to introduce ordinance number 102, 2021, and an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 25 of the Township Code to delete existing chapters 25-1 entitled Stormwater Control and create a new chapter 27 titled Stormwater Control. Anybody want to make the motion for that?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second? I'll second it, Lisa.
Okay.
I can't remember was there a reason we had to replace this, Frank, from the land use board or something that we had to change this?
No.
I can't remember.
No.
Yeah.
Mike,
The
what was the
state-
purpose?
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, it's well, Mike drafted it, but it's DEP regulation, so we had to basically update the existing stormwater
Okay.
ordinance.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. Is that because of the salt and everything else that was going in or
No.
something? Or no?
No.
Nothing to do with it? Okay, I get
No, this-
confused. by those.
Yeah, this is for really design criteria, Bob, for when an applicant comes in before the land use board and how they have to go about their stormwater analysis. That's a major part of it anyway. And
Okay, anybody else have
it's
any
something we
questions,
have to do.
comments? Anybody else have any questions, comments on it? Roll call, Lisa?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes,
Is the Eagle Scout on to do his presentation or?
I
I could ask if some of these other people represent him. Sometimes the names don't match, so
Yeah.
I'll ask everybody to unmute. I see Shannon Quick and Cynthia Pope. I don't know if they have to do with the Eagle
Not
Scout.
with the Eagle Scout, no.
No? Okay. Shannon or,
Shannon is our
our new CFO.
CFO.
Yeah,
okay, she comes to a meeting. Thank you.
okay. Well, if he comes on, we can get him, or next month, I guess we can reschedule.
Okay,
Okay. Paul or Joe's not here, but I think Joe's looking for authorization for two part-time seasonal employees. One's a non-CDL driver, the other one's a CDL driver. So I'll make the motion for them to appoint Damian Ferguson as a non-CDL driver, and William Gruber as a CDL driver for part-time seasonal position with the DPW. Does anybody want to second that?
I'll second.
Anybody have questions, comments, discussions on it?
I have a
Roll call.
question. Why
Go
are
ahead.
we hiring two? Did we hired one, we made one part-timer a full-timer where we're gonna replace him, and were we hiring a second one?
Yeah,
I
but
did,
I don't think the hours, which I think it's a matter of if somebody's not available for snow plowing and stuff. He only has so many trucks, but he can keep all the trucks on. I believe that's what the purpose of it is.
Yeah.
okay,
So, okay. Roll call, Lisa?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
yes.
Sewer pump generator service contract. Mike, you have anything on that?
No, I can actually just let you know, this is
Okay.
something that Joe had brought up last month, but he didn't have firm numbers on it. And he, in reviewing the contracts, realized that we didn't have an actual maintenance contract for the sewer pump generator. And he felt that was pretty important. I think a minor service is around 400, a major service would be 800. So I think this month he's just looking for authorization to add that to the existing service contract.
Okay. You know what? I think I talked to him about that, right? And I told him to do it because I didn't want to have it lapse. Okay. So do we need a motion on that to?
I guess
authorize
it
that
would
contract?
be good to do that, and then we'll just add it to the actual
We're gonna
contract.
make this retroactively. We had no contract on the sewer generator. And Joe realized it and he called me and I told him to go ahead and renew it. So we're gonna retroactively make that contract unless somebody's against it. So I'll make the motion that we sign the service contract for the sewer pump generator retroactively.
I'll second it.
Anybody have any questions or comments on it? I don't like to do that without your approval, but I didn't want to go without a service contract.
Yeah, we don't
No,
want that going
because
down.
Murphy's Law, something would have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. Well, I usually
That's
only
true.
do that when I figure everybody's gonna go along with it, because it just made sense to do, but anyway.
Yes.
Okay, I guess Joe's looking for this new firefighter. I'll make a motion. We appoint Justin Pitt to the fire department. I'm sure Joe did all the requisite background checks and everything. I usually ask him on the record, but he's not here, and I pretty much trust if he gave the name, he did everything appropriately. So I'll make the motion that we appoint Justin Pitt to the fire department.
I'll second.
Anybody have questions, comments on it? Roll call, Lisa?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes,
And Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
108 Washington, we have anything that we can discuss in public, Mike, or is that not going to be an executive?
Yeah, we probably should discuss that in executive,
That's
under
what I think.
contractual.
Okay. The emergency squad report, the training report, that just to give us the information, Lisa, we don't need to take any action on that, right?
No, and I actually don't believe that we got this last year, but yeah, I think it's just a report to show you what their year-end totals were.
Okay. And then the American Legion asks, they'd like to use Thomas Stewart Park for the Memorial Day service so that they could socially distance and have it outside and be in compliance with all the, or at least the current requirements. Hopefully by then, maybe it'll be less, but so that would be the, it's always the Memorial Day itself. I have no objection to it. Anybody have any thoughts on it, or?
I don't have any objection. I just, do we want to check with rec or anybody if they have anything going on that day? I don't
What?
have an objection, but I
Yeah, I
just don't
can
want
look.
them to clash with each other. You want to
Yeah.
check, Brian? You want
Yeah,
to
I
say,
can- Yeah, sometimes they could
Dependent-
have a tournament. I can
Yeah,
check.
I did
What-
try to
what
reach
time?
out to them to find out, like, if they needed the pavilion or any, specific space, and I didn't connect with him yet, so I can just go back and forth with Brian as needed, if that makes sense.
yeah. Brian, you gonna have an answer tonight? You looking right now, or are we? Because we can make a motion to approve it, that they can use it barring there's no conflicts.
You know what? I would approve it. I mean, we have enough. Unless they have a spot that they need to use,
Yeah.
we can make it work.
I think so too, even if there is a tournament going on. I mean, it's only an hour
Yeah.
thing, and
Right.
so.
Yeah.
So, and we're authorized them. I'd like to also put in the motion, I'll make a motion that if they do need the pavilion, it's available, that we waive the fee for the Legion.
I second it.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions, comments on that? So the motion basically says we're approving them to use Thomas Stewart Park, approving them to use the pavilion, and we're waiving the fee for the pavilion if they decide they would like to use it.
Sounds good.
Roll call.
I have a motion. I don't have a second, Bob.
I
I'll
made the
second.
motion, Lillian seconded it. I thought.
Lillian second?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes,
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Okay, I have one last thing on the new business, Frank, then I'll get to you. I just received this maybe a half hour before we had the meeting. It's a letter from a 9-year-old resident. And let me get my phone here so I can read it better. Pretty interesting. I'm reading it first, Frank, because I'm figuring you might go here. It says, "Dear Mayor Barcelona, I
That
am
was
a
what-
9-year-old boy, and I am in 4th grade at Greenwich Elementary School. Today, during dinner, we were talking about having to consider moving because of a lot of warehousing in our area. I would hate it if we had to move. Can you please consider not having any more warehousing? We have at least 3 warehouses where I live. Before I was born, when my mom and dad moved in, they told me that they never heard a lot of trucks, and now there are a lot of trucks and noise. I hear them in my room. I hear them outside, and I see them when we go to drive somewhere. This is bad for our environment. Stewartsville is slowly becoming a warehouse megalopolis. Trucks always pollute the environment. Trucks pollute the air, water, and the earth. They destroy the roads that can cause more accidents and injuries. I would like to ask you if you can work with the surrounding mayors to try to stop building warehouses. I love where I live, my neighbors, my teachers, friends. I don't want to move. Sincerely, Brian Ferreira." So
Wow. Wow.
it's pretty Daryl thought that much about it and is that concerned about it. I intend to answer him, and I think I'm going to answer for all of us, saying that we probably don't really have any interest in warehousing currently, but you never know who gets elected in the future to the township committee and what they might do. But I'm going to give the young man a response. Thought it was pretty neat that he wrote the letter, took the time to write it, thinks that much about it. So with that, I'm done. Frank?
Yeah,
you
no,
have
just
something?
an FYI on that. I beat you to it. I already responded, but,
Were you copied on it? I didn't know that you were copied.
yeah, I
so
was
didn't-
copied
Yeah,
on
there's a
it.
couple of us.
Okay.
But
Okay.
anyway-
Well, I'm glad I read it publicly anyway, but I thought it just
No.
came to me. I only got it like half hour ago, so.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, so as everybody's aware, and if they're not aware, there are no warehouses currently in Greenwich, nor are they allowed in Greenwich from our zoning. So warehouses and truck stops, because I had them check on that too, neither one are allowed in Greenwich.
Good.
So the issue, obviously, is the surrounding towns. And we don't really have control over that. But this town committee has already expressed concern over it and have asked our attorney to look into any increases in warehousing that these other towns are thinking about. For instance, we had heard that Pohatcong was considering an application for an increased size to their warehouse. So just so everybody knows, if the zoning in these towns currently allow warehousing, and if they currently allow a certain amount of square feet of warehousing, if an applicant comes in and they conform to that zoning, they can't stop the warehouse. The warehouse is going to be allowed to come in. What they do have control over is if they want to go over the allowed square footage. So they would have to get a variance on that. And that's where Greenwich has opposed Pohatcong going in for additional square footage for a variance. We would oppose that. We would oppose it also in Alpha. We had heard that that's a possibility in Alpha. That's as much control as we have. We could oppose an increase, but if the zoning is allowed, and this is where the issue lies, because all of these towns, they haven't adjusted their zoning, looking at all the warehousing going on around here. They really need to go into their master plan and they need to change their zoning to stop allowing more warehouses to coming in. And that's really where the issue lies. At this point, with all the warehouses that have been approved, it may be, it's almost too late. There's so much warehousing that's been approved already that it's just going to get worse. But Greenwich has stood firm against warehousing, so as everybody knows.
Yeah, I
Is that what
think
you were
it's
gonna- Anyway, Frank,
But
was that one of the things you were gonna bring up? The
that was
letter?
one of them, of course, yes, that was
I
one of them.
thought, I didn't know you
Oh.
got the letter, but I figured you had something on the warehousing, but go ahead.
Yeah, but one other thing to that too. I mean, Brian and I, we brought this up in a previous meeting. We are currently working together on a letter that we want to send to the surrounding towns, asking them to relook at their zoning to stop the madness.
Right,
And not only has that happened, but Phillipsburg just created a new zone allowing more warehousing. So it doesn't look like it's slowing down any. And if they don't change their zoning, it's just, I don't see
Well,
an end to it.
I did have Lisa forward email that we received today from the county. They're gonna have some virtual meetings. Jim Kern, Freeholder Kern's taking a really a lead on the warehousing and the traffic situation. I don't know if you got it or read it yet, but might be, I figured Frank, you especially may be very interested in participating in that, and probably Brian too, and I probably will if I have the time that night, but I mean, he seems to be taking a lead on the county-wide effort. I think the new freeholder, Cecil, also is very interested in trying to do something about the warehousing and truck traffic. So it's two people we have to work with on the county level anyway. And I don't know that the freeholder Sarnowski's for it either, but I do know those two seem to be out in front on it.
Yeah, I think it's a powerful, statement from a young resident that's concerned. And I think, we have to look at all of our options of what we can do to at least put some pressure on the surrounding towns.
Yeah. Well, I think ironically though, knowing the address where they live, the area they live, I think they're the trucks he's talking about are on South Main Street, which is, we've been trying to address for a
Yeah.
year and a half. That's why we're hiring that officer. And I honestly don't think that the warehouses are having an impact on it yet. It's only gonna get worse.
I
No,
agree.
that is a really good point, Bob, because we're probably at, well, I brought this up in the past, we might not even be at 10% capacity right now.
Yeah.
Right now, we're probably only 10% of what the future build out's gonna be. And if
Yeah.
the trucks are bad now, I don't even
Yeah.
imagine what it's gonna be like.
Well, the complaints on South Main and North Main were happening long before the Phillipsburg warehouses were even done. So like I said, I think it's only, well, not think, it's obviously only gonna get worse, not better.
Yeah,
So.
My
Okay.
block too. It's just getting worse and
Yeah.
worse here.
I had someone try to do a K-turn in front of my house last week. I took a picture of it. I mean,
Wow.
they're driving through Wyndham now.
Wow.
yeah, we may, Bob, you might want to talk also about the hiring of the extra police that we're looking to do to try to control.
Yeah, well, Rich has done the interviews and I think he's narrowing it down. He's not on, is he?
He's
Yeah.
on,
He's on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's open it up and see if he wants to give an update on that.
yeah, I just asked him to unmute. There he goes. Maybe, Bob, before you ask him, you can let the residents know what we're looking to do.
Okay, is Rich on now? Rich,
Yeah, he's on.
Rich, we're gonna ask you for an update on the, how the interviewing and hiring is going for the, Class 2 officers, because just for the people, the public here, we're trying to hire 1 or 2 part-time police officers who would be devoted to nothing but, primarily, I should say, I don't want to say nothing, because if we need them for an emergency, we'll use them other ways, but primarily hired to enforce truck overweight rules and other truck violations in the Greenwich, on all the roads that we seem to be having problems with, which seems to increase every month. So how's everything going with that process, Rich?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, we completed interviews and have some things narrowed down. However, actually, one of the things I wanted to discuss with you perhaps next week, and we can begin the background checks, and hopefully by next meeting, unless you're going to have a special meeting sooner, I can give my opinion for the hire, and you can appoint them.
Well, we have a budget meeting February 27th, so if you can have it done by then, we can make an appointment that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions of Rich before he goes?
Oh, I'm sorry. February 27th. I don't know if I'm going to have it that quick because I am out of the office.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Rich. Anybody else, anything else of him while he's here? Okay, Rich, thanks. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything for new business? Frank, were you done or?
I have one thing. We found out that we already have a weight restriction on Dumont. So I don't know, what do we have to do to get signs put up? Do we need some kind of motion, or we need to get signs up on Dumont about the truck weight limit?
We could just, if Paul was on, we could probably just say, Paul, tell him to put him up, but I'll let
Bob,
him
you
know.
want to send something to Joe?
Yeah, we don't need a motion on that, right, Mike Lavery? We could just,
I would just make a motion because it's going to cost money unless he already has a sign, so it doesn't hurt.
All right,
okay,
I'll make them. How many signs do we think we need?
whatever he deems appropriate, whatever he feels he needs.
There's a number of signs, because you're actually gonna need to put signs on the approaching roadways too, to advise of the weight restriction.
All right.
So I'm sure Joe doesn't have these signs, so he's gonna have to order them.
Well, you know, Joe will know what he needs to get.
Yeah.
So Frank, why don't you make the motion that he installs signs in accordance with the, it's probably National Highway Traffic Act, right, Mike? Something's probably NHTSA, something like that?
Well, it's actually the MUTCD.
I'll make a motion that Joe installs the appropriate amount of signs needed to convey the weight limit on Dumont Road.
Yeah,
And
and
using the
if
appropriate
Joe's got
acronym.
any questions, I'll be happy to help him out.
I'll second it.
Anybody else have questions, comments? Roll call, Lisa.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mrs. McDermott?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for new business? Okay, I'm gonna move public comment up because we're gonna go into executive session. I'm hoping it's not gonna be real long, but people who don't want to wait around. So I'll make a motion. We open public comment. Anybody want a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Frank, you
All right,
wanna
I'll
open
ask
it up?
everybody to unmute. Okay, I asked everybody from the public to unmute. If anybody has a question, please state your name.
Yes, can you hear me? My name is Cynthia Pope. I'm a
Yes.
hello, I'm a resident of Greenwich Chase and I live on Bryan Circle, and I'm asking with regard to the Lopatcong warehouse site. At the present time, there is not a stoplight from Strikers onto 519. And that side of the road where trucks may be exiting to go towards Route 22. So trucks could potentially make a right, but they could also currently make a left. At that intersection, is that considered Lopatcong versus Greenwich Township?
No, that's Greenwich, but it's a county road.
Okay, I ask, sir, because that it would also be the way which children walk to the library, which is presently in that area. So if you were walking, let's say, from the part of the road where the Rita's is, and you would be walking across to the library, currently there's not a walkway. And I am inquiring as to, will there be any plans for that, considering the potential increased traffic of those trucks?
Well, the traffic light would have to be approved by the county, I believe, right, Mike? And Mike Finelli and I did meet with the county administrator well over a year ago about putting a crosswalk in there that the county was going to do. Mike, have you heard any updates on what they intend to do with that intersection?
No. In respect to a crosswalk, Bob, since we met with Alex and had that discussion, Alex Lazorczak, the county administrator, I haven't heard boo about it. The Lopatcong warehouse, as Ms. Pope mentioned, will clearly change the traffic patterns at that intersection. Actually, the DOT is the only one that can actually approve a traffic signal. And with the relationship between Strikers Road and Dumont Road and their respective intersections with 519, that it's going to get, that's going to be that's going to be a nasty place to travel.
Yeah.
And I think, Mike, in addition, I don't know if Ms. Pope knows that Lopatcong is requiring trucks leaving the warehouse to make a right-hand turn towards Greenwich, which brings up a good point, and maybe we could just address it real quick after public comment. But we did talk about having our traffic study person, or even maybe John Drill, looking into why they made that restriction, enforcing all the traffic towards Greenwich. I think I know why, but I want to know what the reason they're using is. I think we all know why. They don't want the trucks going towards Lopat. But if we have a legal right to challenge that, I think we should.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so too. We need to challenge it.
I
Okay.
appreciate your attention to this matter, as I'm concerned about people who are using our fine library system and the potential that they may have and the difficulty in using that library system.
Wouldn't be a
Okay.
bad idea for somebody to notify the library that
Well,
is forcing trucks.
well, Frank, after we close public comment, I was going to make a motion. We have Mike Finelli send a letter to the county to start looking into that crosswalk again and start talking about traffic lights. And I don't know, Mike Finelli, why we couldn't even, I'm thinking about it. There's no reason for a tractor trailer even make a left on well, let's close out public comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Cynthia, you
Thank
were
you.
on, correct? Do we have anybody else, Frank, who wants to talk?
Thank you.
Joe Cicciello, can't hear you, Joe. No sound. If you want, Joe, dial in with your phone. Keep your video going. Keep your video on, but dial in with your phone. we'll come back to you. Is anybody else? While we're waiting for Joe?
He definitely want to talk.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to say something.
Okay.
Unless, Joe, if you want to say something in the chat, I can relay it. If you want to send me a chat. Oh, Joe's looking for an update on the dioxin issue that was brought up last month. Do we have any update on that, Mike? Did the letter go out yet? I know that we had stated that you and Mike would work together to send a letter to all the residents that are on that, I don't know, that aquifer or whatever that source was. Where does that?
No,
Can we make that a priority?
certainly. Actually, yeah, I'm looking at my notes from last month. Mike and I obviously talked during the course of the month, but I don't want to speak for Mike, but I know I haven't done anything. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
can we get that? Because I really want the people to be aware of what's going on.
okay, yep, fair enough.
I think
That's,
the way that we left it was that Mayor Barsney had asked that we try to find out the appropriate like address and phone number of where we wanted to direct them to.
Yeah,
Bob,
well,
correct me
Mike,
if I'm
you brought
wrong.
that question up, and
Yeah,
but Mike responded that he could find that out. That's what he
Yeah,
had mentioned.
I think that was the only,
Yeah, Mike, you said you know who to send them to, right?
yeah, you might be me, Mike, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mike Fennell.
The two Mikes gets confusing
Yeah,
sometimes.
Mike Fennell.
Yes, because of the Franklin connection, I've got some of the names, yes.
Okay.
Anything
Anything
else,
else?
Joe? You good? All right, looks like he's good. All right.
Anybody else, Frank, that's on?
We have Shannon. Oh,
No,
Shannon.
Shannon? Yeah.
Yep, I know, yep, there's a Brian. Nothing else. I mean, I'm asking to unmute, there's nothing, so I guess we're good.
Cool. Okay, I'll make a motion. We close public comment. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
On that traffic, Mike, I guess Finelli, why don't we send a letter or reach out to Alex? Maybe you and I can meet with him again. And we could talk about that crosswalk again, because at that time, the county was even offering to pay for it. We could talk about maybe going jointly, asking for the traffic light between the county and us. And maybe even I can get Lopat on with that. And why couldn't we make coming off of Strikers, trucks must turn right there? Because there's no reason for a truck to go left except for a local delivery. Can't get through the culvert. down
You
at-
can't get through the culvert.
And they
That's
can't
a-
go and do, they can't
And
do.
you can't
on-
go and
on
do
Fremont.
that. That's a really good point, Bob. That's.
So, and coming down 519, we ought to have a sign that says trucks must turn left onto Strikers.
I agree.
Oh, okay,
So-
coming down, going north,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Going north on 519, we could mark that saying trucks must turn left.
We should probably, we could probably kill two birds with one stone, Bob, relative to the meeting with Alex. Because those are very good points. You're right. There's a left turn movement from a truck coming on Strikers. There's no reason anyone should go left. There's not.
Yeah.
And of course, coming north, like from 22, they should make the left on the Strikers as opposed to continuing down 519. So those are the two us who know the area. They seem pretty obvious, but let's be honest, we know that's not the way it works sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll take care of trying to set some up with you and Alex, then,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely. We'll let you know.
What
Okay.
about, Bob, what about, do we want to authorize John to start looking into why they're forcing a right-hand turn out of that warehouse? I mean, I would say it's worthwhile looking into because.
Well, I know why they're doing it.
Yeah, they're gonna say it's because of sightline, right? They're gonna use that excuse, but I mean, we could have our own traffic guy challenge that or at least confirm it.
Here, we could. I mean, to be honest with you, that's a pretty simple thing to check. I could certainly do that, but assuming that does not meet the correct sight distance criteria, which I'm going to guess it doesn't, hence the right turn restriction or the the right turn only restriction. What it probably would require would be a redesign of the driveway at the ingress and egress into the site, because you can enter the site. There's no restrictions. Strikers, heading, I guess would be north, strikers heading south. And there's the entrance driveway is a full movement driveway. I mean, that's probably, it's a design change, which is realistically probably too late in the game. But at this point in time, but it's not any reason why we couldn't look into it.
But
Okay.
I think we should.
Okay.
That's my. opinion.
So can we just, Mike, then, do we need a motion to authorize Mike to look into that?
You can make the motion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to have Mike look into the forced right-hand turn out of the warehouse on Strikers Road, and to check to see if it complies with the reasons why it's needed.
Okay.
Second that.
Anybody else have any questions, comments on it? Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
And Mrs. McDermott?
Yes.
And one more thing before we go to the thing I forgot. I'd like to welcome Shannon Quick on as the CFO. You got your emails that she had made the offer and accepted. We had approved the hiring by Lisa, Lillian, and Brian. I'm going to make a motion that we formally hire her tonight. So I make a motion that we appoint Shannon Quick as the CFO according to the pay and hours as prescribed. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Anybody have any questions, comments, discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Baylor?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
And Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Welcome aboard, Shannon. Frank, you want to unmute her in case she wants to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
something?
Unmuting.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come on board. I'm sorry if it's loud, but I'm in a bowling alley right now. So
I
just trying
thought
to
I
listen
heard
and
a
bowl at the
bowling.
same time. Yeah, it's, work and bowl is what I do. So, but I look forward to meeting every single one of you in person. I'm in for the long haul, so we'll get through this. But hopefully it'll be an easy transition, hopefully for all of us.
Well,
But I thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Well, welcome aboard and good luck with everything. And maybe next month I'll make a motion that we make you captain of the Greenwich bowling team. Okay. Thanks now, Shannon. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Yes, good luck. Good luck, Shannon.
You too.
Hey, does anybody have anything else before we go into executive? I make a motion, we enter executive session. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
For the purpose of discussing the court, township-owned property, and a personnel issue that came up last minute that I thought of, so.
Yeah, and also 108 Washington Street, Mayor.
Right.
That was the
So-
township-owned property, but,
Oh, okay.
okay, we're good then. All in favor? Aye?
Aye. Bob, do
Okay.
you have an estimated, how long do you think will be?
I hope no more than half an hour. Maybe
Oh,
less.
that's more than you even say. Okay. All right. So the way it works is we shut down this meeting. We open up an executive meeting. When the executive meeting's over, we'll return and we'll reopen this meeting if anybody wants to rejoin. And if there's any action that needs to be taken from the executive meeting, we'll take it then. All right. So we're going to end the meeting now.
Okay.